In this video, we're going to make a matching question. So we'll simply click on the plus button to start that. We'll then select the matching option circled here. And once we've selected that, we'll then be able to build our matching question. So what we're going to do is, again, add a question title. I'm going to call this question 1. Again, it's not really necessary what we call it. The STEM question is what's really important. That's the question we're going to be giving them. So here we're going to type in what we want them to match together. For this question, I'm going to ask them to match the state to its capital. I'm going to fill out all those question types, and then I'm going to be a little devious and add a distractor. So I'll show you how to add a distractor after I've filled out all of the correct answers. Now that I've added all of my correct answers, I'm going to add some distractors for the student. Now that I've added all of my states and capitals, I'm going to add some distractors for the students just to maybe trick them up a little bit. You can simply add a distractor by clicking on the plus distractor button circled here. And once we do that, we can type in a distractor which will have no real point value associated with it. So I'm going to write in some distractions. First, I'm going to put in San Francisco, which is a common misconception that is California's capital. I'm going to add another distractor. I'm going to add in New York as another misconception for being the capital of New York State. And then just to throw them for a big loop, I'm going to put in Fargo as another distractor for the capital of North Dakota. Once I've done all of this, I just simply need to save the question and I'll be all done. So let's scroll down to take a look at some of the options you have available to you in the matching question type. We have the ability to show an on-screen calculator. If we select that option, we do have the choice between a basic or scientific calculator. We can also shuffle the questions per question now, rather than just the entire quiz. You still can do that in the settings section, which you'll see more about in the settings section of this training course. And then lastly, we can now do partial credit or exact match. So with that, if you give partial credit, which is what classic quizzes use to do for matching, if they get half the questions right, they'll get half the points. Now we can tell the quiz that they have to get all of the questions matched correctly to get all of the credit. And then lastly, we'll scroll down and we'll add our point value. We're making all of our questions worth 5 points, so we'll add 5 points here. Once we're done with that, we can click the Done button, and we've saved our question. Now let's take a look at what the students will see when they take this quiz. Just like we could before, we can preview the quiz by clicking the Preview button up at the top right. And this is what the students will see. They will see all of the question types that they need to match it to on the left with a drop-down menu on the right-hand side. They will then select the correct option from the drop-down menu. So if I were to say this, for New York is Albany, for North Dakota is Bismarck, but for California I'm going to select San Francisco, and when I hit submit, you'll see that I got 0 out of 5 points because it was not an exact match. Thank you for watching. This was the new matching type in new quizzes.